Okay, I'm going to read this post by Ariel, Proletario 1, on January 27th. I had recorded it back then, and I just found it in my videos. And if you hear a funny sound, it's my little dog snoring, so just didn't want you to think that was me. Human Hunting Lodge, the Black Forest. The Rothschilds' mansion is one location where these events take place. Jessie Czebotor explained how these events are carried out in great detail. These masks are what they wear when hunting the children. It was said that I'm going to say grapes are not, and I didn't expand that, so. But first of all, I want to say the fact that Ariel is using Jessie Czebotor as a source puts anything else that he ever says in question. I don't trust him. I don't know who he is. I just ran across him on Facebook, and I see he's got a lot of followers and stuff, and I don't have very many followers. But I know Jessie Czebotor. And then he shows these pictures of the elite in their, they are very evil costumes, and, the stag and all that stuff. And people do have hunting parties and stuff. Kathy O'Brien talked about that. But it never happened to Jessie Czebotor. There's been a lot of people who have exposed her. She very plainly said that I am a Satanist and a Mason. She teaches witchcraft and Satanism to people and makes up so many tall tales, it's hard to keep up with them. And she's got, thousands and thousands and thousands of followers because people are so gullible. So we've all seen these pictures. This is nothing new at all. Jessie probably got them off the internet just like the rest of us did. Okay, this is March 30th of 23. And then he goes to Tori Smith, victim. Well, when I first ran across Timothy Holmseth back in 2017, I listened to him a couple of times. And right about that time is when he came out with that fantastical story about people blowing up dumbs, I can't remember where it was now, and bringing 2,100 children in cages up out of those dumbs. And then I guess they blew them up after they got the kids. I don't know. And I thought, wow, I didn't really give him any credits after the first time I listened to him because I could tell he was mentally ill in a devious, cunning, evil way. I would actually guess that somehow or another Timothy Holmseth was used, maybe as an MK Ultra person, I don't know, as a child. He was adopted. We know a lot about Timothy. We've been exposing him for a long time. And I say we because it's not just me. I've had personal encounters with him. He shut his whole program down one time because I asked a question. I tried to warn him about Daniel John Lee. And he got pretty upset and just shut his live feed down right there. But I also have met Timothy Holmseth's victims. And Timothy Holmseth and Jessie Czebotor are as tight as thieves because they're both thieves. I looked into that story about the 2,100 kids in cages. There was article after article after article all over the internet. And I am a professional researcher. I did that for a living for years before I retired. And when I know to go to the source, you don't just believe what you go, you trace the source and see where did that story come from. And out of all of those multiple stories, when I traced the source to each one, every single one, bar none, came from Timothy Charles Holmseth. So I knew right there it wasn't true. There was never anything on the news anywhere. It all came from him. And also, that's how I learned about Tori Smith, victim. And so I went and I watched most all of his things. And to me, it looked like he was in some kind of a mental hospital because everything was white. And he was dying slowly. He eventually died, and he was skin and bones. And he claimed that they were poisoning him. And I can't prove that's not true. But the stories that he told about all the... if anybody wants to see it, you can look up Torrey Smith. It's still on YouTube. All his stuff's still on there. As far as I know, I haven't looked at it lately. But you know what his sources were? Because that's what I look for, is the source. It was his mother goddess and remote viewing. That's how he saw all this stuff. That's garbage. If he was listening to a mother goddess, he was listening to a demon, a demonic spirit. And if he was doing some kind of remote viewing, he saw things that were almost impossible to believe. And so I don't believe anything Torrey Smith said either, because he had no real source other than his mother goddess and remote viewing. Now, if you want to take that for a source, that's up to you. I don't. I want hard facts. And then Kathy O'Brien. Yes, she was a victim. She's still a victim. She is still under mind control to this day. She got free of it for years, for many years, I think. Not even sure about that anymore. All I know is right now they have taken her back. I believe Mark did help her. And she remembered a lot of stuff. He was her protector and her handler. But you need to hear Kathy's daughter, Kelly Cox O'Brien. You need to hear her side of the story. She's still a victim. But they couldn't make her forget. But they've made Kathy forget. And she thinks she is in all of these grifter circuits right now. And I don't think she has any idea what she's doing. She trusts these people. I could be fooled. She may have been fooling me clear back to the first. I don't know. So Adrian John Wells, I don't know if that's John Wells, so I'm not going to speak to that because I really don't know. But there's Jessie Czebotor, a victim. No, she's not a victim. She is a victimizer and a witch, in my opinion. And I have done a lot of research on her. I've listened to hours of her videos where she literally told, she's supposed to be a Christian chaplain. She collects donations for military victims. But where does it really go? I guarantee you not a penny of it goes to military families. That's my opinion. I'd have to see the receipts and talk to the people before I ever believed it. So I've made other videos about her, and I've actually just made another one. I just haven't posted it yet. And then Tracy Remington, victim. Well, Tracy Jo, I've got videos on her too, was literally insane, if not demon-possessed. But she was very close buddies with Timothy Holmseth. Seems like all these people have that in common for some reason. I've watched her, just basically lose it. She shot her husband. And I think she said it was because he was trying to kill her or something. But if she is a victim in some way, I'm sorry for that, for anyone who has been victimized that way. But I also know, unless a person's been healed, they victimize other people. I've had it happen in my own home with a victim that I took in, and from others that I was trying to help. Mickey, you are noisy. So, all of these people were sexually abused by people like Michael Aquino. Michael Flynn used to arrange torture sessions for these victims. Now, I don't believe that either. So, there's that. I have zero confidence in anything else that Ariel would ever say. And if people are using Ariel as a source, then you're using Timothy Holmseth as a source. And Jessie Czebotor and all these so-called victims. I can name a much more too, and I am slowly going to expose as many as I have concrete evidence on, that I've had contact with or experience with. Because I'm sick of people being deceived by these people. So he's saying that all of these people that he just mentioned as victims were sexually abused by people like Michael Aquino. Michael Flynn used to arrange torture sessions for these victims. So I don't know if he's saying that these people here are the ones that were involved with Michael Flynn. I'm not really sure of that, but Mary, Flynn's daughters, probably. So Dennis and Reggie Fashbaugh, Jody LaDulce. Now, I know her. I've had communications with her trying to warn her about Phil McConnell and Timothy Holmseth, but she never listened. And now she's all up in the Reawaken America, I think, with Michael Flynn and stuff. Okay. And these other North Hampshire, UK, Global Climate Coalition, Climate Action, Shabbat Solar, Daniel Sullivan, Special Agent Bill Heem, Joseph Travers, Timothy Sullivan, Jane Wesley Law Firm. Well, some of these are in there more than once, so. Alan Elizabeth Gore, Bright Space Foundation. I don't know who made this list. I don't know if Ariel made this list, because it sure looks a lot like that list that Mike Gill was showing on his show. Mike and Gill and Michelle Moore connected to Guy Brummel. So did Michelle get that list from Ariel? I had, a couple of 3 people tell me that Ariel used Timothy Holmseth as a source, so I've never really listened to him or trusted anything he said, although he does have some truth. But all liars have some truth. And maybe Ariel doesn't know, or maybe he's not lying on purpose. But he uses some very shady sources, which contaminates anything else he says. I would never use him as a source. I think I did use something he said when I first started watching his stuff, because I didn't know who he was, and I still don't, but I'm not out to get him. I hope he watches this and realizes that before it's over, he's going to lose every drop of credibility that he has, just like Mike Gill and Michelle Moore. So I don't believe any of this. So February 20th, Ariel, I don't know if you know this, but I spoke to both of these people. Jessie Czebotor gave me permission to post this info. You want the screenshot from that to BITCH? Stealing? Well, Ariel, you were duped. Because, of course, Jessie's going to give you permission, because she wants her lies spread everywhere. The more her lies are spread, the more money she gets. So there's that. So then he puts this thing here of Timothy Charles Holmseth. Note, I was asked about Jessie Marie Czebotor's affidavits. They are public record. They are free to anyone who obtains them. Anyone can publish them. See there? I've addressed these affidavits before, because Michelle Moore says she had them all of Jessie's affidavits on her website. And if there was one she was missing, she wanted everybody to know. So, send it to her so she could put it up too. But she also made the claim that, that her and Mike Gill never used any of Timothy Holmseth's stuff as a source. Well, Jessie's affidavits are probably done for her by Timothy's girlfriend. So I was trying to remember the name of his girlfriend or whatever she is. But her name's Randy Erickson. She used to call herself Randy Q. Erickson. And she got into it with a lot of people. I think she is literally Timothy Holmseth's handler. That's very obvious because she handled him all the time. And she's the one that does those affidavits. She did the affidavits for Timothy, so she probably did them for Jessie too. She has some kind of, or she claims to be some kind of law official or something. I haven't thought about her for a long time, so it's kind of slipping my mind what all she was doing. But as I've said before, and I have said this before probably in more than one video, so get over it. I'm 76 years old. I'm going to repeat things. But an affidavit, because I've typed up affidavits myself. And I did, transcription work and stuff for attorneys and different people. So I know what an affidavit is. And it's not really a legal document. I don't care how many times you file it in court or anything else. It's somebody's words on paper saying that something happened or didn't happen or given permission or something like that. And, it works for a lot of things. So it's not a bad thing. But just because Jessie Czebotor or Timothy Holmseth wrote a big, long affidavit with all these things that supposedly happened and everything, doesn't mean anything. Most probably would never hold up in a court of law. They claim to do all these affidavits and send them to all these congressmen, and maybe they do send them. I know Phil McConnell was doing it too. So just because she's got some affidavits, Ariel, that doesn't mean they're legal documents and that it really happened. You need to remember that. So we covered this where supposedly Timothy, it could have been Randy that sends his emails, I don't know, given permission for anybody to publish them. They want to get the word out there. So I suppose, and I'm not absolutely, this was in text form where Timothy sent that to somebody, and then I think this may have been Ariel responding to Timothy, but I can't tell for sure. Thank you so much, Jessie. Hope you are enjoying your weekend. The content on Tim's site is crazy. I am surprised this guy is walking around. Oh, if you only knew, Ariel.
Suppose they locked him up.
Yeah, my husband just said, I'm surprised they haven't locked him up yet. I wonder how many attempts on his life were made. I know Craig Salmon Sawyer wants him gone. Anyway, enjoy your week, darling. Be safe over there. Well, Ariel, you have been so duped. I remember recording this thread, but I just recorded. I really didn't read it until tonight. And I have to say, I'm very disappointed in you. I know that means nothing to you, but I'm just telling you the truth. There have been no attempts to this point that I know of on Timothy's life. Now, I did have a dream one time that somebody was going to make a move on him, but he's still kicking as far as I know. But I did the legal document concerning the Craig Sawyer and Timothy Holmseth. It wasn't just Craig Sawyer. It was Craig Sawyer, Doug Hagman, Steve Quayle, and maybe one more. We're suing Daniel John Lee, who was a real close, good buddy with Timothy. And everybody that came across his path was called a satanic pedophile. That's exactly what Mike Gill was doing and using Timothy's stuff. So there's at least 2 warrants that I know of still out for Timothy Holmseth's arrest for cyber stalking. Attorney Kim Picasio for over 10 years. She won the case against Phil McConnell, but Timothy never showed up. And I'll try to remember when I do publish this to give the links to the videos that I've made about this showing what really happened. And as far as I know, Craig Sawyer's well, they call him Sawman, but Craig Sawyer is a good guy. And I don't agree with everything he says. I mean, like he calls God Yahweh and calls Jesus Yeshua. And that's a big no-no for me, but I mean, if people want to do that, if they want to pray to the devil, that's up to them. But I know that they had a very legitimate case against Daniel and Timothy and Randy Erickson and Tracy Remington. A lot of these people that were mentioned here. Now, Jessie wasn't mentioned in this. I'd never heard of her up until just the last year. A friend of mine was telling me about her, but I just didn't want to get involved in anybody else's drama. But here I am. But yeah, there's a grifter gang, and they all fight in between themselves. And anybody that goes against Timothy usually gets cyber stalked before it's over. So just remember that. And I think this may be why Michelle went against Script Keeper and the other people, because she's trying to hang on to Ariel, because she was using Ariel stuff. And so Ariel's probably the one that gave her Timothy Holmseth's information, and she just thought it was from him, from Ariel. But Ariel was getting it from there, I guess. Not making any outright accusations. I'm actually trying to help Ariel right now. Laugh if you want to, but that's what I do. And anyway, yeah, Craig Sawyer stood up to Timothy, and that's why Timothy is making all these ridiculous accusations against him. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot, but I've heard Craig's testimony. I've communicated with him, you know, and he's not what Timothy says, I don't believe. So, you know, they won a lawsuit in court. I don't know why Timothy's never been picked up. Maybe he is a what they call a useful idiot to the CIA or something. I don't know. But he is a grifter, so, and a liar, and mentally ill, sociopath. So I don't know who Ariel's talking to here, some old bucknut or something. But this is Ariel here. Are we reaching? Would this be coincidentally something that indicates involvement in pedophilia? When Michael Flynn was named by multiple victims of child sex trafficking? I doubt it, because Adrian John Wells removed all doubts, along with Jessie Czebotor. Now, I'm not sure. I know a John Wells that I've listened to before, that he used to interview Phil McConnell and stuff, so he is probably mixed up with this grifter gang. So I don't know if that's the same one or if this is somebody else, so I'm not going to speak to that. But there's Jessie Czebotor again. And the multiple victims he's talking about are the ones that I read in the first of this. You know, Kathy O'Brien was mentioned, and Kathy O'Brien was, you know, tortured by Michael Aquino, according to her story. And she has probably the most credible story of anybody I've ever heard. I've known her for, well, I first met her, not met in person. I've never met them in person. But I had over 20 years of correspondence through email, telephone, and snail mail with Mark and Kathy. I bought cases of their books and gave them to people back in around 2000. So I'm thinking about eventually publishing some of Mark's emails and little bits of Kathy's here and there. I don't want to cause her any trouble, but, you know, people say, oh, you know, I'm lying when I say I know her. And I'm not lying. I've already proven that. Not trying to win any popularity contest by knowing Kathy O'Brien. But I did, you know, get pretty close with her through emails and just, you know, communication. So I know that Timothy Holmseth was obsessed with her and talked about her. And I told her one time about it, and she says, I have nothing to do with that guy. I've never spoken to him, never heard of him until you mentioned him to me. And he was acting like he knew her, you know. So I'm just saying what she told me. And I do have that in an email somewhere. But they will, some of these people that may be real victims, but they don't have the memories right. They can implant memories. Even Kathy O'Brien said they could implant memories. And I've done videos on that as well. I've studied this stuff for years, you know, the psychiatric part of it. And I've had victims in my home, you know, that with multiple different personalities that would switch in and out. And, you know, some people say they're demons, demonic, but I think it's a coping mechanism as well. I think it's possible that they could implant demons in them when they do the SRA, I'll say it that way, abuse, the ritual abuse. I mean, why would you have a satanic ceremony or ritual with these victims if you're not doing something like that? So I know there was a big thing about the false memory thing, and that goes both ways. I mean, there's good and bad in everything, but there are false memories that can be implanted in people, and they think they're real memories. I've talked to some victims that say when they, you know, as they got older, they weren't sure that any of those memories were really theirs. One victim told me that, you know, they would do these rituals, and they always gave them copious amounts of drugs, you know, which made them hallucinate. And Kathy O'Brien herself said that the only drug they did not give them was cannabis, because they couldn't control people who were using that. But I mean, they gave them heroin and opium, and the one strange thing was that they gave them huge amounts of aspartame, which is on the market called Equal, a sugar substitute, which can cause all kinds of problems. It can cause convulsions and horrible headaches and all kinds of stuff. So be careful when you know, a lot of your diet drinks and stuff are filled with that stuff, that aspartame. There's no artificial sweeteners that are man-made that are like that. You can use Truvia and stevia, monk fruit, stuff like that, maple syrup. But anyway, I remember one victim who had been through that, and I mean, she was just telling me what had happened, and she said that you know, they gave them the drugs, and they might think that they're KILLING, a baby, but in reality it's a lifelike baby doll. And so they put it in their head that they've actually, you know, used a weapon or a knife, a ceremonial knife or something, to sacrifice a baby. But when they try to think back on it, and they do get memories, they remember that it was literally a doll, and they put fake blood on it and stuff. That doesn't mean they don't do real sacrifice. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that from some of the people that I've talked to, they have tricked them into thinking they did something like that. And anybody who watches that or listens to this who is a victim, my heart, I mean, that's why I've studied this for so many years, because I really do care. But at the same time, I have seen victims that were just mean and nasty and devious and hateful and vengeful, and, you know, maybe they have a right to be, but if anybody questions them, how dare you not believe every word I say? You can't believe anybody until you know the facts. And look at the fruit that they're producing. There was one post that I saw that was a general or somebody that said, unless a unless a victim has been saved by Jesus Christ and born again, they cannot be healed. And I know Kathy's daughter, Kelly Cox O'Brien, told me that as a child she met, Jesus. She gave her life to Jesus, and they can't wipe her memories. They can't make her forget. They've tortured her and her mother together. They've done horrible things to that young woman, and but they can't make her forget. I'm asking everybody to keep her in your prayers, because even Kathy, they've made her think that somebody else is her daughter. And it's sad. So I've done videos about that too, so I'm not going to go any further in that. But some of these victims that he's talking about right here, multiple victims, I can tell you they're lying. Or they've either made it up, or they've gotten it from somebody's books, Cisco Wheeler, or there's a lot of them out there. And they mimic those. And so it ends up that all of these victims have all been victimized by the same people. So it makes it hard. And it's hard for victims because their stories are so bad that nobody wants to believe it to start with. I was in shock for 3 months after I read Kathy O'Brien's book. Literally, it changed my whole worldview of everything. So I know that Mark Phillips told me that unless a victim is healed, they can be one of the most devious con artists you've ever seen, because they switch personalities, so one personality don't know what the other one's doing. So, and he said that unless they have the proper deprogramming techniques, they can't be healed. Now, I have to differ with him because he really didn't, I don't think he believed that people had demons and stuff like that. So I really don't know for sure exactly how he felt, except that he seemed to know a lot about it. He also was a NLP practitioner, and I've got discs full of documents and stuff that I got from him. So anyway, Ariel now is, calling people pedophiles, that he has absolutely no proof of that. And that's not good. That's what Mike Gill was doing, calling, he's a satanic pedophile. Everybody's a satanic pedophile. No, they're not. Now, I have my own problems with Michael Flynn, but mine are more of a religious sense, because that's where my expertise comes in. And when I heard Michael Flynn, calling on Michael and his legions and using New Age philosophy from Helena Blavatsky and her like, and smoozing with Kenneth Copeland, that's when I knew he was a mess and that he was part of the New Age and trying to bring in the New World Order. So that's my beef with Michael Flynn. That doesn't mean he has facilitated molested kids or anything else. So I don't know, and I don't believe things that can't be proven. So it looks like that was April 2nd, 2023. And he responded to Proletariat with some pictures of Flynn. And Flynn's shirt has some twirls on it, which means little boy love. So that's what they're saying. And maybe he just had a shirt with some twirls on it. I don't know. If he is involved in any kind of human trafficking or hurting children or people, then he'll end up where he belongs before it's over. Ariel, Bohemian Grove, Pizzagate, 9/11, the Sedona Collective, the Cannibal Club. No. I did some research into that Cannibal Club back when they came out with that. So I might as well just tell you what I found here. You know, they had pictures claiming it was certain people, and they were Chinese, I think. But when I, really started digging, those pictures had come from stock photos on the internet. People can make up anything they want. I know there are cannibals, not doubting that. It's just that, the truth is ugly enough without adding a lot of stuff to it that's not true. The Order of Melchizedek, the family bloodlines, the Jessie Czebotor case, he's really using her big time. And he's going to be sorry he did that because she's a fraud. Anybody with any biblical knowledge, after listening to her a few times, will know she is not a child of God. She's a witch, in my opinion. She teaches witchcraft and Satanism to her students. And I think they have to pay for it. I haven't been to all her sites. I'm not going to, let her take up too much of my time. But I have spent a lot of time just listening. That's what I do. I'm a researcher. And I'll watch hours and hours and hours. And you have to remember, all liars have some truth. That's the bait. When you look at this list, do you think you would have gotten all these details, these topics from A. Jones I brought? Well, where are you getting that stuff, Ariel? Timothy? Jessie? Then you have no evidence whatsoever if you're getting it from them. Okay? Now, who knows what else was at the Mar-a-Lago? But I can assure you it has to do with those documents that has names of former presidents involved with Jessie Czebotor. I'm sorry. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. You're just grasping at straws, Ariel. The very fact that you are using known grifters and liars, as so many people are deceived by you. It's sickening and sad. So they have not a lot to be concerned about. We will see. See, Timothy Holmseth claims there's only one man between him and President Trump. And I think the person he was talking about was David Straight, which now he don't like David Straight anymore because he does everybody that way. So I didn't see what was in between there. I didn't get all of it. I was fairly new to this. It's taken me a while to get used to Twitter. No, why? Because I have the court documents with Jessie Czebotor and Adrian John Wells, who named Michael Flynn as the person who molested him back in the mid-'80s. Now, like I said, I don't know anything about Michael or this John Wells. So please understand, this is not about who got purged or not. She literally works on the same board as Michael Flynn. No, she don't. Michael Flynn probably has no idea in the world who she is. And if he does, then maybe he's part of it. Liars and frauds, yet everyone I called out has yet to call me what you claim. None of you big accounts would never have these people below on your show. Torrey Smith, well, they shouldn't have him on their show. Well, number one, he's deceased. But he gets his source is his mother goddess and remote viewing. That's it. That's his source. Kathy O'Brien, Jessie Czebotor, Tracy Remington. Do you have the box to do that? I know he meant something there, but he wrote box, so that's why I'm reading it. I don't know, like I said, I don't know Adrian John Wells. He may be telling the truth. And Kathy O'Brien is telling the truth as far as I know. But Tracy Remington is a mental case. I mean, I've seen her meltdowns and stuff. I've seen her schmoozing with Timothy like she was his girlfriend or something. Think about the human trafficking survivors, especially the ones like Christine Spear, Kathy O'Brien, Megan Walsh, Adrian Wells, Tracy Remington, Jessie Czebotor. Why hasn't Alex Jones invited them on? Because these women will drop names of people Alex Jones knows. Think. You don't know what you're talking about, Ariel. You just don't know. You are so deceived. So I guess he's replying to Sarah Seeks Truth, and she's done a lot of exposing of Jessie Czebotor. Believe me. You know, she's done videos about her smoozing up to, the head of the Temple of Satan, Lucian Greaves. And she claims to be a Satanist and a Mason. She says that Lucian Greaves should have a medal, an award. How do you have proof when your claims were not filed with any courts? What defines your proof to be more valid than what Jessie Czebotor filed with Minnesota and Florida courts? Well, I already explained the affidavit thing, and it's just a bunch of garbage that she made up. She either made it up or she's really that involved with Satanism. But she's a witch. She is not a child of God, I can tell you that, and I am being very judgmental right now because we are commanded in the scriptures to discern what people are by their fruits. And judge and discern means the same thing. You have to judge between good and evil. You have to look at their fruits. And Sarah Seeks Truth has a lot of proof. And Craig Sawyer's been through hell because of Timothy Holmseth. So I would believe them before I would believe him. Can what you have be notarized by the court system as proof of innocence? The court system didn't notarize it, Ariel. Timothy's girlfriend is a notary. They're probably not even filed in court. And, if they are, it doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't mean they're true. Ah. Elaine, you do know this information was also handed over to Donald Trump's attorney, Lindsay Halligan, right? Do you know she has a team to validate, invalidate cases such as Jessie Czebotor, correct? Sarah is shooting blank rounds in a dark room full of mannequins. Nope, you're wrong, Ariel. You're very wrong. I would believe Sarah above you. And it's, I knew this stuff even before I read Sarah's stuff, but I didn't know that much about Jessie. I've learned a whole lot about Jessie since then. Mika, thank you for these posts. I will add this to the archive because Jessie Czebotor mentioned this regarding the wearing of children's faces after they had been cut off. You know where she got that? She got that from Hillary Clinton. And we don't even know if that's true, honestly. Because I've seen fake pictures of it that were proven to be fakes. You're a gem. Appreciate you adding to these subjects. Yeah, you're all lovey-dovey to people that agree with your spreading false lies and rumors. I'm not calling Ariel a liar. I'm calling him extremely deceived. Sarah, and this is your problem. You have tunnel vision. You are focused on Jessie Czebotor when I can name other witnesses who were sexually abused by the other person you are trying to defend, which is Craig Solomon Sawyer. I hope Craig sues you too, Ariel, for spreading this crap. So why would I trust anything you have to say? Well, nobody should trust you. All right? Nobody. Because of just this thread right here. I had never seen this till tonight. I recorded it. I never actually took the time to read it. That's why I'm spending so much time addressing it. I would definitely trust Craig much more than I would you. And Sarah Seeks Truth. So Jessie Czebotor is naming people who can basically sue, assassinate, or put her in a mental hospital then allow her to continue to do interviews, given the position they wanted her in. I guess is the reason they didn't do any of this, because they want her as the leader. I don't know what was said to him, so I can't address that. You think everything stops at Jessie Czebotor? These people are naming the same people. Well, because they read each other's stuff. They cooperate with each other. So here's some names of the people again. Some of these people, I have no idea who they are, and I don't know what happened to them. And I just really don't care to right now, because I'm just about overloaded. All of these people name those in government, military, and entertainment. And there is a lot of crap going on, that's for sure. So, I just know that I don't trust Jessie Czebotor, Tracy Remington, Phil McConnell, especially Jessie Czebotor. She's one of the worst of all. She's right up there with Timothy Holmseth. So why is this totally out of the picture for most? Michael Flynn knows most children in human trafficking end up on military bases. That's true. And I'm not saying Michael Flynn's not involved in this. I don't know. I've never seen any proof of that. And literally, Ariel has no proof whatsoever, except what these people, who are very questionable, are telling him. So he has all the incentives in the world to slow down the operations to end it. Why? Because witness testimony from Jessie Czebotor implicates him. I can't see what that says right there. So, Chalet or something reports exclusive Michael Flynn was a keystone in the CIA Five Eyes plot to frame Donald Trump. Adrian. He's naming more names. And many other survivors will tell you they saw many public figures from Hollywood to our government in these underground tunnels. Beyonce, LeBron James, which is why he loves Culver City pizza. And some of that may be true. Like I said, I don't know. All I know is that Jessie Czebotor is a liar, a fraud. And she claims, actually, to be a Satanist and a Mason. So only God knows even if that's true. Do you think she's the only one? Do you know how many victims have named Flynn? Are you ready to go on that mission to debunk every single one? He keeps naming them. The things on my page are 1/10 of what I have. Stop. Okay, here we go. Flynn, who is implicated in the Pandora Papers, Mike Gill. Another fraud, just like Timothy Holmseth. Boy, you really got into some bad company, Ariel. Five Eyes, Russian spying candle, satanic ritual abuse. Do you know that Jessie claimed that her grandmother had to have her head separated from her body to kill her, and she was the main head honcho of the Mothers of Darkness, and but when they did the funeral, it was done so that nobody could tell what happened and all that stuff. And from what I've heard from Sarah and others, her grandmother is still alive and heartbroken because of what Jessie's saying about her. Coup against Donald Trump, but you are the innocent one. Now, I don't know much about Lara Logan or if she's responding to him. Absolutely correct. This account is an op for the bad guys. Watch them attack me now from multiple angles for saying that. I don't care one bit. Bring it on. Your tactics do not work anymore because we're smarter, wiser in our battle scars, and people see through this now. Michael Ray Corey, if you're following this account, you should consider yourself misinformed, lacking intelligence, and feeding into slander and lies. Twitter.com, Proletario. I'd have to agree with that. Victims of human trafficking. Here you go again, same list. And he's got some really, really, really bad informants. Ask yourself, why does Michael Flynn, Larry Logan, or Liz Crokin do not reach out to any of these people who are survivors of something they claim to fight? Well, maybe they know what I know, and that they're dealing with liars and frauds. Okay, that's the end of it. Sorry this is so long, but I did want to address this. A lot of this is my opinion. A lot of it is from years of research and close-up personal experience with these people. God bless you.